everyone, thank you very much for watching. Today's video is about mindfulness. The 3 points I would hope you would take from today's video is number 1, that you have an understanding of what mindfulness actually is. Number 2, that you'd have an understanding of actually how mindfulness can help us and maybe looking at some of the science behind that. And number 3, that you can take one simple practice from today's video where you can start implementing mindfulness into your day-to-day life. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is where our full focus and attention is on the here and now. So it's present moment thinking. It's where we're able to focus on our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and our bodily sensations. And we're very much doing that intentionally and non-judgmentally. So that's what mindfulness is. What might it be not to be mindful? So we're not mindful an awful lot of the time. Not being mindful is when you're lost in thought, you're ruminating, you're overthinking, and a lot of the time you're not even aware of that is going on. So what studies have actually shown is that for up to 47% of people's lives, they can actually be lost in thought. So what we know is that when people are lost in thought, they're not present to the moment, and it's only in the moment can we experience emotions such as joy, such as love. All of these emotions you can only experience now. The more you're lost in thought, the more you're missing out on the present moment. But also being lost in thought is hugely linked to things like high levels of anxiety, high levels of depression, excessive worrying, overthinking, very negative thought process. So all of these things are very, very common. And the part of the brain that's activated when you're lost in thought and when you're ruminating or when we're thinking about ourselves is known as the default mode network. And the default mode network of the brain is what it makes up a small part of that part of the brain is called the amygdala. And the amygdala, which people might be familiar with, is where your fight or flight response is activated. So what it actually, mindfulness, those who practice mindfulness on a regular basis, it is actually shown that people that practice mindfulness regularly have a smaller amygdala. Therefore, they're less prone to stress. So one of the huge benefits that you can get from practicing mindfulness is that it increases your capacity and your tolerance level to deal with the normal day-to-day stressors of life. Because we can't take away the normal day-to-day stressors. You know, some of them are just going to be there. But what you can do is, if we're more present to the moment and if we have more self-care practices like mindfulness incorporated into our day-to-day life, it increases our capacity and our tolerance level to deal with this stuff. So we're able to manage it better, we're able to deal with it better. Mindfulness helps us to be more connected with ourselves and also be more connected to others. It really helps increase our self-awareness. Mindfulness helps improve our focus and attention and our overall emotional state. So it's a really, really beneficial practice. And what mindfulness is shown to do is that it actually helps to take us out of the default mode network, and it actually brings us into another part of the brain and activates another part of the brain, which is called the task positive network. And this is the part of the brain where we're really living in present to the here and now. And that's why mindfulness is so beneficial and so important. For me, I find mindfulness really good for reducing levels of stress, for really helping me. I just manage stress better when I'm practicing regular mindfulness. It also helps me within my relationship. I'm far more aware of when I'm with my children or I'm with my partner. That I'm more connected to those relationships. I try my best to be very present. I'm very cognizant of being present to that moment and not be off thinking about something else. So, and that's the importance of mindfulness, that it can really help us with all of these kind of things. So a mindfulness practice that I would think would be really, really good to show you, it's just a simple practice that I do every day. And the goal here, I would suggest to you, is to try it for 1 week. So if you try it for a week, you check how you feel at the start of the week and you check how you feel at the end of the week. So what I would suggest to you, it's a very simple, and I would always suggest this to people when you're starting, because there's many, many ways of cultivating mindfulness. And mindfulness can become, you can get extremely in depth when it comes to mindfulness. There's lots of skills that, you know, we use when it comes to mindfulness. But when we're starting mindfulness, a really simple practice to start with are just breathing practices. And what I would suggest, and I had it in an earlier post in one of my Instagram posts, I had a little post that I put up in relation to this, and it was very simple, that you try to practice mindfulness for 1 week, 3 times a day. Once in the morning, which was 10 minutes, once during the day, which was 5, and again in the afternoon or the evening for 10 minutes. And it's a very simple practice where all you need is yourself. You find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for that period of time. That could be your bedroom, it could be a sitting room, it could be the kitchen, it could be your car. It doesn't actually matter. I have a client who's a farmer, and he does it in his tractor, and that works for him. So it actually doesn't matter. So what we're doing is that, whether it's 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you're sitting comfortably in a chair, upright if possible. Palms can be facing down or they can be facing up, whichever feels best. And what I would suggest for that period of time is to close your eyes. And breathing pace, what we're trying to achieve is 4 seconds breathing in, holding the in-breath for 7 seconds, and breathing out for 8 seconds. Now, you don't have to overthink that. The most important thing that you do is you take a big, deep in-breath. A good pause is really important, because what you're really trying to do is slow down the breathing, and you're really trying to become aware of the breath. So what I would suggest also to people is put your left palm on your tummy when you're breathing, and what you should notice with the in-breath is your stomach rising and expanding with air, and with the out-breath the stomach should fall again. And that's how you know if we're breathing deep down into the diaphragm, so if we're breathing properly. Whereas a lot of the time, if we're stressed or we're anxious, our breath is actually very short and very shallow, okay? And we're not getting that air into the lungs and into the diaphragm. And that's actually often what creates an awful lot more anxiety, a lot more stress. We're not actually breathing properly. So breathing pace, 4 seconds in, gentle pause for 6 to 7 seconds, and a big exhale for about 8 seconds. The most important thing of the breathing is that you expand more air than you take in, because this is what helps to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, and that's where it activates that sense of calm, that calm state that we can feel when we practice breathing practices. So that's the breathing pace, okay? And closing your eyes is important, but if that makes you uncomfortable for any reason, or you're not able to do that because maybe you're in your car and people can see you, you can still do the breathing in a car, because people aren't really going to know what you're doing. Just focus on a position on the floor or on the ground, and just fixate your gaze on that for the period of the practice. And the idea of the practice is that you just are trying to focus your attention on the breath. Now, if thoughts come in, that's perfectly normal, it's perfectly fine. Thoughts will always come into our mind. And what you're trying to do if a thought comes into your mind is try not to attach to the thought, try not to judge the thought. So as it comes in, gently almost just leaving go again like a cloud in the sky, and leaving that go, and just guiding your attention back to the breath. And this is where you start developing that brain, that you're developing and strengthening that brain and the muscle of the mind. And that's a good way to kind of look at actually what mindfulness practices are. Mindfulness practices are brain training techniques to strengthen the muscle of the mind. So over time, the more you practice these practices, it actually filters into your day-to-day life. So in your day-to-day life, over time, you start becoming far more self-aware, far more present to each and every moment, far less reactive to things, far less stressed. So these are really, really important. So the practice, set 10-minute timer, 5-minute timer, whatever the practice is, breathing in for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 7, breathing out for 8. If thoughts come in, that's perfectly okay. Just gently leaving them go again. Remembering, don't judge the thought, don't attach to the thought, and just focusing on how the breath and the body work together. Do that for 10 minutes. Try 10 minutes in the morning. try to get in another 5 minutes during the day. And if you can, then in the afternoon or the evening, maybe after work or whatever the situation might be, do 5 or 10 minutes again, and try that for 1 week. If you try it for 1 week and it works and it's really beneficial for you, keep it going. The most important thing when we start incorporating any processes into our day-to-day life that help us with our self-care, that help improve our self-awareness, that just help our overall mental health, don't stop doing them, keep them going. And I'll talk in future videos about the importance of these processes and different processes throughout our day that can really, really help us just maintain a better overall sense of well-being. So in future videos, I'll actually do many different types of mindfulness practices with people, and I'll talk people through a full mindfulness practice. Of what I'll actually do in the back of this video is I'll do a 5 or 10 minute breathing practice where actually you can listen to me and I'll actually be talking you through the breathing practice. Okay, so I really hope you like what you hear. Please like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to get some new videos. There'll be videos going up here every Friday. And also we will be talking very soon with a local person. I won't give out his name right now, but we're talking to him. He's doing some really, really cool stuff with mindfulness at the moment. And I think it's really, really interesting, and it'd be great for people to have a conversation with him and talk to him. He's a really, really interesting and amazing guy. So also, guys, I have Instagram, and I'll be putting stuff up more regularly on Instagram. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have as much time to be putting up videos, but there will be videos going up every week. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, I'm able to get two videos a week, maybe. So thank you very much. Hope you like what you hear, and hope you can watch another video. Thank you very much.